Hello and welcome back and welcome to September, and in this video I'm starting a 4-week September reset. There's a PDF down in the description box if you'd like to follow along, just one little thing a day to stack, and by the end of the week and by the end of the month I'm hoping I'm going to have just tweaked a few things. I'll have things that I want to keep going with, things that I want to do more of. There'll be some that I decide I don't want to do again. But the point is, having a bit of a reset and a refresh is a great way to start September. I'd love you to follow along, of course, and if you want to do that, don't forget to subscribe and hit the little notification bell. Most of all though, just have a look at the PDF, see what you think, and you can print it out obviously if you want to, or just download it, or just read it. See if there's something there that grabs your attention. Now I've already started because I did the first thing that's on my list for today. Well, the thing that I want to build on throughout the whole of the month. I went out for a really early morning walk. Now this was not an exercise walk. I've done that as well, but that's different. This is just to make sure glasses off, because I don't want to block any of the light coming in. It's all about getting the light into your eyes and into the retina, because remember, your eyes are part of your brain, only bit of your brain that's on the outside. And so if you get the light of the morning onto your eyes, it immediately reacts with your brain. And there's a lot of neurology involved in this, obviously, and I'm not going to go into details. I'll leave a link down below if you want to watch a really good podcast on this. Listen to a really good podcast on this. But the basic sort of essence of it is that in the morning, the blend of the frequency of light that the morning has and how brilliant it is, it's really bright. That's the thing that when it gets into your eyes, it goes to your pineal gland and it releases a neurotransmitter called dopamine, which is the thing that makes you feel good. So there's an immediate feel-good feedback on this. It does things like reset your sleep cycle, because sleep is so important. And yeah, I'm going to say it, as you get older, sleep gets harder and it gets more important. So it's a really good thing to focus on. Anything that can help reset our sleeping so we can get a few more 7 or 8 hours a day and at night is a great thing. And this first light of the morning is the way to start that, because it immediately tells your brain, hey, it's morning, these are the things that need to happen in the brain to state that this is the beginning of the day. So go for it, have a walk outside, sunglasses off, and if you can walk safely without prescription glasses, I would say do that as well, because even something like the glass on your windows will block probably 50% of the value of this. And no, ordinary lights don't do it. They help and hinder in equal measure, but they simply are not bright enough. That the lux of the measure from the outside light is just so much greater than you can ever have almost in any sort of artificial light. So that's the first one. And of course, a good walk for exercise and just getting the whole body moving really well. That's also important. I've done that as well. Now, the next thing that has a huge impact on our well-being, on our skin, on the whole way that our bodies function, I mean literally from head to toe and everything in between, is to stay really well hydrated. And that helps it helps the neurotransmitters work in your brain, it helps your digestive system work, it helps your joints, it helps your skin. Everybody says if you're feeling dry and dried out, well, that's what your skin will be feeling dried and dried out. In fact, I was watching something the other day, and a woman was saying that she'd been up in the mountains in the dry, cold air, and it was dusty and it was dry, and she came back down, I think she lived in Texas, and her skin was feeling really dry. It wasn't that she'd been exposed to sun, she was very careful about things like sunscreens, but her skin was showing its age. She said she looked 10 years older, and it was simply that dry, cold air. You have to work really hard when you're in that environment to keep your skin plumped up. But one of the ways you can help to do it is to make sure your body's hydrated. Now, this doesn't mean going out and buying expensive special bottled water unless you're in an area where you simply have to. Yeah, a filter is nice, but that can be as simple as one of those little ones you have on your bench, like a Brita filter, or you can go for the reverse osmosis ones that you have, linked in under your sink, and they're great. But if you live in an area like I do, where you can drink the water, that's fabulous as well. Now, I do put it through a soda stream to carbonate it, just simply because I find that encourages me to drink it, whereas plain water I find far less appealing. But that's just me. There are some of the mineral waters that actually do have a benefit. I know San Pellegrino has some particular balance of minerals in it that make it a really good health benefit over and above the hydration. But you don't have to do that. You can just drink water. Now, the way that I am reinforcing this particular habit and encouraging myself to drink more water is that I leave a jug of water out on the countertop. That sort of fulfills all of the habit making aspects. I get the cue of seeing it. It's easy because I just have to take a glass and pour some water, and it's rewarding because I have the taste that I like and the bubbles that I like. It's a very pleasant thing to do. All of those things stack up to make it an easy habit. So see if you can do that, and if it changes your quality of your sleep, your digestion, your mood. Everything is linked to basically staying really well hydrated. Now, the next thing I want to add every day, and alright, I do it frequently, but it's not an everyday thing, but is to eat lots of very fresh seasonal vegetables, to make a really colourful salad, to roast some colourful vegetables, to put good greens into a smoothie. I mean, if you're one of those people that really doesn't like to eat greens, putting them in a smoothie is a huge plus, and you can put anything almost in a smoothie, whether you're going into spring or whether you're going into autumn, fall. We've got beautiful vegetables that are seasonal, so try to eat seasonal, try to eat local. It's just good for the planet. And I know that it's not always possible to buy or afford organic because the prices are quite ridiculous, but if you can't, make sure you give them a good wash. Some people put a little vinegar into the water to wash them. I do that, particularly for things like apples, lemons. They have coatings on them. It just depends where you've got it. And if you've got a local farmer's market, then you probably are not going to come across that. But if you're buying from a supermarket, because often that's the only thing that's available, then it is always a good idea to have, give things a good wash. And things get packed. It means that people have been touching these things. So it's not all done by robots. So add in that really good fresh salad, and it just makes your whole body feel better. Now, the fourth habit I want to emphasize for myself, and I do this most of the time, but I want to make it all of the time, is to start my day the night before. You know what I mean. When you go around and you do a good quick tidy up, you fluff the cushions, you pick things up, you put things away where they belong so that your house is tidy, tidy up the kitchen, wipe down the counters, stack the dishwasher or do the dishes, so that things are ready the next morning. Also, it's important things like turning off your screens. Our phones, that's when the light, the blue light that's so good during the day, is no longer good for your brain, because it's telling your brain that it's daytime and it's time to get up, and you don't want to do that. You want to tell your brain that it's time to go to sleep. So that's another important thing. Some people like to take a warm bath. I'm not a great bath person, but even just a really sort of a tepid, it's a really horrible word, isn't it, but a warm, lukewarm sort of shower, one that's not going to warm you up. It's to help cool you down, because that's a signal to the brain that it's time to go to sleep. And also just having that peaceful time, doing something. I mean, I'm not saying you wash your hair, you do all that stuff. This is just a quiet, calm little shower. Maybe it's your second one of the day, because I know after exercise I need my shower in the morning. But this is just a going to bed one. And then go to bed with a real book and read a couple of chapters of a book, because you're not on your screen, you're not on your Kindle, you're not on your laptop, you're not catching up on the latest Netflix show, and you can calm yourself down and you're ready for sleep. Now, number five is to love the skin you're in. There's no point in saying, oh, I wish, but just take care of the skin you've got. And whether it's with high-end products or high street products, then give it the best care you can. Now, we've already talked about sleep, that's huge for skin. Talked about hydration, that's really important for skin. And now I'm saying give it some love, because it does make a difference. And people say, oh, those products don't work, they don't work. Well, they do. They don't stop you from getting deep lines and wrinkles. It doesn't stop your face from aging, but it keeps it healthy, it keeps it clear, and it adds a barrier to moisture loss. It adds a barrier to the UV damage if you're using a sunscreen, and things like vitamin C and retinol products, very gentle. Some of the acids, and I know you're going to say acids, that's got to be a bad thing to put on your face. No, they're very moisturizing. It is important to look after your skin. It has a huge job to do. And you know what it's like when your skin gets dehydrated and dry. You feel it, it feels tight, and you think, oh, this is uncomfortable. Well, you've got to look after your skin like it's a rare orchid, basically. It's not a rubber plant you can throw in the back, back of the room and just ignore. Your skin deserves to be looked after. It's not magic. You're going to get wrinkles. You are going to age, basically. And I know that if you're Jane Fonda and you have fabulous work done, that's a totally different thing. Though I'm sure her skin is still aging. It's just that it's also been tweaked a bit along the way, and she looks after it exceptionally well. But that's the thing, that you do have to look after it. Now, number 6 is another one that's really dear to my heart, and I have to remind myself to do this because I haven't been doing it. And it's to take a news fast. And what I mean by that is to opt out of that 24/7 news cycle loop that runs all day, every day, and it just reports the worst possible things that are happening in the world. Now, I don't mean to become, that you should become a recluse, or you should ignore information that you will need in order to stay safe and well in your community, whether it's weather reports or are there any restrictions related to the pandemic, all of those sorts of things. Yes, there's a difference between getting enough information to be safe and informed without having to swim in it, basically. And look, at the moment, between the pandemic, things that are happening around the world in terms of the terrible fires in California, what's been going on in Afghanistan, and it just breaks my heart for the women, in particular the women and children of Afghanistan. And I know that men are caught up in it, and well, I'm not ignoring that, but I know that for women and children, their lives are going to change so dramatically. Look, wherever you look, there's strife. There've been terrible things on our news cycle lately, and while I'm not saying put your head in the sand, I'm simply saying that these are things that in most cases you can do nothing about. And just for a while, for a week, for a couple of days even for one day, to switch off it. Give your nervous system a break. Let it calm down. You will feel better for a news fast. You might even get addicted to them. Do them once a week, or have a week off every couple of months, and you just don't look at anything. You just don't indulge in it. You read, you listen to music, you go for walks, you do other things rather than watch the news. And now for number 7. This one's important. It's to be your best and most loyal cheerleader. The person who says to yourself, well done, you're doing okay, you're doing your best. Now, Mel Robbins, she's a great motivational speaker. She's got a new book coming out, and I think it's actually called High Five. But she says to give yourself a high five in the mirror in the morning, pow. And just say to yourself, look at yourself and say, well done, you're doing your best. And you're doing okay. And it's a great job you're doing. Well done. Because it's so important that we support ourselves rather than looking for support from other people. Yes, we have fabulous support groups, and it's good to hear it from friends and family and co-workers, but it's also most important that we know it ourselves, about ourselves. So in that mirror every morning, brush your teeth, you look in the mirror and you go, high five you, well done. Now that's the first week of habits to add for your September reset. And if you want to follow along and do this with me, I'd recommend grabbing a journal and just jotting down a few things each day about what you've added, what you find easy, what you find hard, and what you're going to work on, and that makes you feel good. So if you would like to, I'd love you to subscribe, hit that notification bell, you know, the top one with the little things on it. And please give me a thumbs up, it helps my little channel. And I hope that whatever you're doing, that you're having a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.